What went wrong with Waterworld, Kevin Costner's big-budget flop, released 30 years ago? Kevin Costner's unappealing anti-hero and bad writing were only some of the problems this expensive box office failure had to contend with. This is the latest installment in our From the Vault feature series, in which we reflect on culturally significant movies celebrating notable anniversaries. It was supposed to be a modest B-movie. The elevator pitch: Mad Max on water. But somewhere along the line, Waterworld, which turns 30 this month, morphed into the most expensive blockbuster of its era and one of Hollywood's most legendary flops. Fresh from the 1991 smash hit Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, star Kevin Costner and director Kevin Reynolds had the world at their feet. But the project they chose next, a 1980s script by Peter Rader, rewritten by David Twohy, The Fugitive, was much riskier. So risky, in fact, that Jaws director Steven Spielberg urged caution. As Rader recalled, Spielberg was unequivocal: "Do not shoot on water." In the year 2500, with most of Earth flooded, the mariner, Costner, sails the world in a souped-up trimaran, trading dirt with fellow survivors and drinking his own urine. On a remote atoll, he meets young Enola, Tina Majorino, and her protector Helen, Jean Triplehorn, who hold the key to finding the mythical dryland. He also tangles with the evil deacon, Dennis Hopper, and his tooled-up pirate gang, known as the Smokers. Although they all seem like they are appearing in different films, Waterworld is not quite the disaster it has been painted as. There are some great shots stranding the mariner alone in the endless sea, some nifty action, with Costner flinging himself up, down and around his boat, and a brilliantly overblown raid, complete with flying jet skis and smokers water skiing behind a seaplane. But these bright spots are not enough to overcome its many flaws. Costner's unappealing anti-hero is grumpy, taciturn, and, at times, downright abusive to Helen and Enola. The cackling villains look like tooled-up Depression-era hobos. And the script goes heavy on the yo-ho-ho elements: tattooed maps, submerged treasures, deserted tankers, but is frustratingly light on detail. The mariner, we learn, has gills like a fish that he barely uses. Dryland, when we find it, is so huge it is hard to imagine how it could ever be lost. Sure enough, when the Avengers scribe Joss Whedon was brought to the Hawaii set for rewrites, he found only chaos. There was no water in the last 40 pages of the script. It all took place on land, or on a ship, or whatever. He told entertainment news outlet the AV Club. "I'm like, isn't the cool thing about this guy that he has gills?" And no one was listening. I was there for 7 weeks, and I accomplished nothing. I wrote a few puns and a few scenes that I can't even sit through because they came out so bad. What was going on off camera, it transpired, was more interesting than anything he could make up. Reynolds repeatedly clashed with his controlling star and resigned before the film was released. In the future, Costner should only appear in pictures he directs himself, he told Entertainment Weekly. That way he can always be working with his favorite actor and his favorite director. As Spielberg predicted, filming on the ocean led to severe delays, which pushed the shoot into Hawaii's hurricane season. This caused the $22 million, 1,000-ton atoll set to sink and saw the budget skyrocket from $100 million to $175 million. Worst of all, Costner's stunt double, Norman Howell, almost died of an embolism from a diving accident. Majorino and Triplehorn nearly drowned, and Costner found himself dangling 12 meters, 40 feet, high from his mast during a raging storm. No wonder production designer Dennis Gassner called the shoot 18 months of hell. To be fair to Reynolds, Costner, and co., post-apocalyptic movies are almost impossible to pull off at this budget level, where the results must appeal to the widest possible demographic. The earlier Mad Max movies, miraculous as they are, were made outside the studio system, retaining their punk rock spirit. Despite terrible publicity, Waterworld did not flop as badly as has been suggested. It received an Academy Award nomination for Best Sound and, over time, made a profit on video. Looking back, Costner was typically bullish. "It stands up as a really exotic, cool movie," he told the Huffington Post. "I mean, it was flawed, for sure. But overall, it's a very inventive, cool movie. It's pretty robust." Perhaps that exoticism, that willingness to take a risk, however foolhardy, is something Hollywood could use more of right now. My own personal take on the picture is that I don't think it's any better, any worse than most summer blockbusters. It's somewhere in the middle, Reynolds told pop culture news website Den of Geek. It's certainly got its faults, but I think, on another level, I think it works quite well compared to some of the other big films. But by the end, people, they wanted it to be a disaster.